we've gotten good participation. We get a lot of good views for this topic. Oh my God, All right.
Yep.
So we're actually live. This is good. So we're scrolling through. We already got 21 people in. Good for them. So it's close. There's a little time delay between us and LinkedIn. Let's see it.
Gotcha.
And there we are. We're going to call this one the Graybeard episode. Hi, everybody. We're going to give everybody a little bit of time to get in. If you want to grab this link and post it on your social feeds and Twitter, as many people in here as we can. But we're going to take a minute. We're going to drink our coffee on my great 11FS mug. I love this. So this is what we call staging, everyone. There's nothing in this, but I'm going to fake the entire time like I'm drinking it. So it would be good. I'm going to fake it. And Curt, my running thing the entire series this week is to see how many times people touch their face, because it makes me laugh.
Yeah. We'll see. It's tough because, when you have a gray beard down here kind of hanging out, you want to stroke it because it makes you look like you're smarter than you are.
Know. I hold a pen in my hand. So I do this the entire 30 minutes because it forces me not to touch my face. That's the only way I get away with it. Yeah. And it's good to see that my feed still sucks and you look beautiful. So
awesome.
That's nice.
Hey, it's awesome. It's okay by me.
Yeah, everybody, I think I'm going to start doing these from like the local Starbucks. Just sit outside in my car and drive from there because my neighborhood is just killing my feed right now. Absolutely killing my feed. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started so I can somewhat stick to time. I ran so far over yesterday. It was incredible. So, that's life. And how we already have 6 comments, people. Really? Love it. Brian's asking how he gets an 11FS mug. Brian, you send me your address and I will send it to you along with stickers and swag and everything else. So we'll make sure we can get you some swag and get it going. We have Corey LeBlanc on from Louisiana. So Curt, you're part of the world.
Yeah. Hey, Corey. Good to see you.
I'm expecting Corey to ask questions with a Cajun accent. That should be weird. And we'll let it figure out how we do that. All right, everybody. Good morning. I almost just touched my face and I held back from it. Welcome to the 5th episode of Fintech Insider, the Breakfast Show US. This is a show from the folks at 11FS bringing you insights into the fintech and banking landscape as we are now living all in self-isolation. We're changing the schedule slightly next week. We're going to come in live to you at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time for our British friends. That'll be 3:30, and that'll start next week. We've already got a great lineup for next week, and we'll push that out probably later today so you can see everybody. Because, again, we've been doing this on the fly as we build it out, but the interest is definitely there. We've got, I don't know, Tobias, that's my producer, who's in Copenhagen, about 30 minutes outside of Copenhagen, who's running this right now. But I think, Tobias, we got something like 25 to 30 guests already lined up, which that takes us out to 6 weeks. I'm Sam Maule, 11FS Managing Director in North America. I'll be your host for this. Today, I want to welcome Curt. Curt, don't do it. I phonetically spelled the last name, Queyrouze.
Oh, man, we practiced this. It's Queyrouze. That's okay.
Queyrouze.
We've known each other I've known people for years and they've never had to say my name. And then when they get to it, Curt Q, I'll go by that.
Yeah, I put it out phonetically in my notes and I still just looked at it and blanked out. Well, Curt is the president at TAB Bank in what part of Utah, Curt?
Ogden, Utah.
Ogden, beautiful Ogden, Utah. Usually when I talk to Curt, there's mountains in the background and it's gorgeous. So Curt is the president of a bank that, how would I describe TAB Bank, Curt? How would you describe TAB?
So TAB's a small business bank, right? So we've been online for 21 years, which makes us kind of unusual. We don't really fit in any categories because we're not a digital, we weren't founded as a digital bank, and we've never had, on the other hand, we've never had branches. So we've always lived on the internet for 21 years. So originally we were an industrial loan charter bank, and so we were tied to a large truck stop chain. And the founder of that truck stop chain founded the bank 21 years ago. So originally what we were founded for was to serve small businesses, which were truck drivers all across the country. So if you can imagine in 1998, a truck driver being in North Carolina, dropped off a load, needs to go to a truck stop and refuel. That might cost him $1,000 to refuel and supplies. Takes a bill of lading, would walk into a kiosk we had in the truck stop and fax it to us. We would take that bill of lading, we would discount the receivable that was created by that, and then used a system from another affiliate we had to get instant access to funds so they could buy fuel. And so I like to say we were doing mobile banking before the invention of mobile phones, and literally mobile banking. And so over the years, our connection with that truck stop chain ended about 10 years ago. And so we stood on our own. And so we did then undertake that digital conversion. So today we are a digital bank for small business. Still a little over half of our small businesses are truck drivers or in the transportation industry. And so today, though, we're
Isn't it funny? So Curt, you gotta love it. No, go ahead.
I don't know if we had a delay there, but I was just going to say today we are just dedicated to small business, particularly small business owners, and our whole mission is to give access to things that the small business owner felt were out of reach, and so whether that's insights into how to run the business better, access to capital that they thought they couldn't get access to. Opportunity to the next level up from wherever you are in the evolution of your particular small business. And so that's kind of our mission today. We're still branchless and we still do everything digitally.
Curt, earlier today when we were pushing this out and on Twitter and letting people know we're going to be doing this, and we're going to really focus in on small businesses, especially the small business loan programs that are being pushed out there. Ron Shevlin had a great comment because you had actually tweeted on how you were having something for breakfast from a small business owner that was by you, and Ron said what most people don't realize about community banks is they're small businesses themselves. They're being massively impacted right now.
Absolutely. Okay. In our neighborhood, right? So in Ogden, so we're 30 miles north of Salt Lake. And within our community, so it was interesting that sweet potato pie that I was having with my breakfast, small business right here in this area, small business owner. So that was a gift to us from another small business. Okay, that small business. I know this is a weird connection, but this is how it works in communities. It's a husband and wife team that do home inspections. The wife used to work for Tab Bank. She was one of our best collectors. And she left to go help her husband grow the business. They've grown. Now they employ people. They do home inspections all over the Wasatch Front in Utah. She's also very connected to Youth Impact Center. And she introduced the Youth Impact Center, which is a nonprofit that helps underprivileged youth have a place to go after school, a safe place with learning and everything else, with building a community. So now Tab Bank's connected to that nonprofit. Brenda and Tony, Inspector Tony's Home Inspections. I should plug all these small businesses. They use a network of small businesses around here to make cookies and pies and treats and swag, and part of their marketing is to have these things delivered to their realtors and their connections, right? So all these small businesses are all connected together in a lot of really interesting ways, and that's what community is all about, right? So yesterday a knock on the door, and delivery guy with a mask on and gloves drops a bag, and there's a pie in it for us, and it was great. I mean, we used Tony inspected our house, right? And so it's all connected together, and so even in this downtime, Tony and Brenda are supporting the small business, sending stuff, buying goods to send out to us, and keeping those connections alive. And that's, I think, the inspiring part right now that's happening is all small businesses, local communities, we're all pitching in
Yeah.
in certain ways. And that's what gets us to the other side of this. And that's what's so rewarding about being connected and involved in financing small business, bank for small business.
You have that sense of, it's a sense of community. We have that. That's one of the things I loved about New York and working out of New York. When we had opened up our office in New York, Alex Gillette, there's a shout out to Alex Gillette at Even Financial. I think they were literally right across the street from us. I'd been up to the office around Thanksgiving, and when I came in, we had something like 7 pies sitting on our table, which is fun because there's only 3 of us in the office. But Alex and his team had like a Thanksgiving dinner, and they had all these pies left over, and he ran them across the street to us and dropped them off, just gave us a little note. And again, it's that sense of community, right?
Oh,
that
yeah.
we have. And I absolutely, right now, we have to embrace different methods. That's why we're doing this morning show, so that we can all stay connected and have this sense of community. But definitely you with your customers and the different businesses that you deal with, that's just everything right now. So one of the things I find interesting is Curt, correct me if I'm wrong, but you lived through Katrina, is that right?
Yeah, so I'm originally from New Orleans, and I was living in New Orleans in 2005, so 15 years ago. And we evacuated. We kind of packed up an SUV, had a chain of like my mom, my brothers, relatives, and we all kind of caravanned out of New Orleans to Houston, thinking we were going to go we stayed at the Houstonian, thinking we were going to have a little mini vacation. When the power came back on in New Orleans, we were going to go back, of course it never did. So we lost a house, cars, everything we own, memories.
Wow.
I have a 25-year-old daughter that, so 15 years ago, right? So I had a house full of paintings and things she had done that I collected, when she was younger, and pictures, for everything gone. And that feeling after Katrina, the first 2 months of walking around. So I worked for a bank at the time that had an office in Dallas, so I was able to kind of head up to Dallas, rent an apartment, and kind of go back to work. So I was one of the lucky, fortunate ones, right? Just like right now, I still have a job today. Back then I had a job, but you walk around amongst uncertainty, and it's tough. You feel like you're in a war zone because you went through something very traumatic, and when you get past it, you realize you had PTSD, and you had other things going on. And that's how we feel right now. And I remember that, and I'm having flashbacks. It's interesting. A lot of details from that or have been coming back out of my memory. But you walk around and it's the uncertainty that gets you. So there's grief, there's trauma. Don't know what's life's going to be like 2 months from now, 3 months now, 6 months from now. And that uncertainty feels very familiar right now that we're going through. Like, when is this going to end? How's it going to end? What is my life going to be like after that? And what you learn from Katrina is you can't control all those things, and but you've got to go take a step forward, right? So you find the next best thing that you need to be doing, and you focus on that, and that's what you can control, right? So what do I need to do to take care of my family? For our small business, for the bank, it was, let's take care of, and we acted early, I think, because I had been through experience, and I kind of knew it's better to be more cautious in approaching something like this. But take care of our employees first. That's the first thing we had to do. The team came together, and we've been working remotely for 3 weeks now. And then we could turn to our customers, and what do we have to do next for them, and and so we went one thing after another, and we're stepping through it. And community, as we were talking about, people helping other people and coming together, all of this energy towards getting us through this are gonna take care of it, right? And we're gonna get to the other side. And we can't be frozen. It's okay. We're gonna have grief and anxiety, but we need to have that reside inside of us at the same time we have hope residing inside of us. And there was a word, the seminal thing that happened in New Orleans was that for the turnaround was, I think, a year and a half or 2 years after the hurricane, when the Saints returned. and there's one word was adopted by the city, and that word was believe. Yeah. And when that community came back together in that Superdome for that first home game back, it still brings me to tears to watch. It was the moment we knew we were okay. Then the city now, well, it's gone through another traumatic thing, but prior to this virus, the city ended up coming out of it in a better place than it was before the hurricane. It took years, and we're going to be in that same place.
Yeah, for our folks in Europe that watch us, for Asia or Africa, we've had folks listening in from Uganda, Nigeria, Asia, across the UK. Just to give you a quick sense of what's happening here, Louisiana actually is a massive hotspot for breakouts for the virus due to multiple reasons. So it's it kind of tears at your heart when you think about what they're going back through again with this. But I really want to focus in on your customers that you had talked about, Curt, because I think there's a couple people that on Twitter and on other social media channels have really done a fantastic job of tracking what's going on with the CARE Act that was passed by Congress, the big stimulus package that we talked about, but also the loans and grants for small businesses. So we have this SBA, that'd be the Small Business Association, relief program that's been kicked in. Just a massive press conference yesterday by the White House talking about this. If you could describe for us, you're allowed to swear too, by the way, the current state of what you're seeing when it comes to this SBA loan program and how it impacts banks like yours.
Yeah. So the danger is, as we're talking, it's probably changing, right? Yeah. It was approved a week ago. The act, signed by the president last week, and in that period, it is just all kinds of aspects about the program have we've been whipsawed back and forth. And so today, it launched at midnight last night. I really don't know, since we're on the phone. It's 9 a.m. here for us, 9:18. But so I don't know what's actually happening, how much volume is occurring. I know for us, we were not a designated SBA lender, right? When we started this process a week ago, we got approved officially and got our designated lender number yesterday. And then as we tried to get into the SBA system and get all of our administration done, the system's struggling just to even, and we haven't even launched yet. So I have a lot of fears about the SBA system. E-Tran and some of the other systems you have to interface with, even handling the volume. A typical annual volume for SBA 7A loans is about 23 billion. This is 350 billion. We're trying to shove through the system between now and June 30. It's hard to imagine how it's actually going to work, but I will say that the people we're interfacing with at the SBA have done a great job. I mean, they've been tremendously helpful. They're working hard, but you have a system that's just not designed for this. And then there's just been a lot of mixed messages over the past week coming from Treasury and SBA exactly how to do this. What we need, just like as a bank, when we deal with our customers, one of the tenets that we hang on is certainty, right? Transparency and certainty are two of our credos.
Right.
We have neither right now. And for our customers or for the lenders still. So we got to get there. And I know we will. Got to get there. The sooner we can get there, the less, the more pain we can avoid that our customers are going through, our small businesses and their employees.
Yeah. There's been a bunch written, as you would expect, right? I mean, this is the story. Obviously, it's consuming everything from a media standpoint globally, especially here in the U.S. So there has been a lot written and a lot of commentary also written about this, about Treasury and the SBA, and a little bit of what always happens in something like this, of who owns this territory, who's in control, who owns what. And like I said, you've been through Katrina, you've lived through this. I was in the Navy. I spent when Hurricane Andrew hit South Florida. Yeah. I was stationed in Charleston. We did a lot around that. So I'm I'm a decade-long government employee and was in the military. Folks, that's going to happen, right? Those blockers are going to come, and when we push something through as fast as we have, you're going to see that. I love the point you made about the registering and being able to be as a bank that can provide these loans, and the system not being able to actually support it right now. We've seen that on the unemployment side, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our unemployment benefits and the systems we have was not built for something like this. It's not built for this throughput and volume, and that does get back to, and you can say this for banks, you can say this for government, having systems, modern architecture that can support throughput at this level. Zoom's catching. You think about Zoom. If you had to pick a winner,
right.
A month ago we just said Zoom was going to be the one, but you think about the sheer volume that they're pushing through. Now there has been a lot of talk about the security element side of that, but yeah, it's just nonstop. Hey, we have a question. Corey LeBlanc, your fellow Louisianian, and I slaughtered that. What do you call it when you're from Louisiana?
Louisianian. It's a little. It is.
I did it right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a twist. All right, so he's got a question. Curt, how important do you think transparent communication with your SMB customers is right now with such a lack of clarity or inaccurate information as the ability of banks to move? That's a good question.
That's a great question, and we have struggled with that so much this week because we want to communicate frequently, and but we don't want to communicate the wrong information. And I can tell you that there's so much information that's being flooded out there about the PPP program that it's confusing and it's contradicting. We even had 2 days ago, the Treasury was saying one thing at the same time as the SBA was saying something else. Yeah. And so, we keep wanting to reach out. We were just talking about this last night. We keep wanting to reach out with information, but we don't want to get the wrong things in the hands of our customers. And so that has been a struggle. And we have, we have relationship managers, customer service people that have been doing their best. We sent emails out, so we are communicating. I wish we had more certain things to tell most of our customers want to know about the Paycheck Protection Program and the SBA loans. And so, it's the final rules that came out last night. Read them last night, 30 some odd pages. That's great. It helps us. It gave clarity to, I want to say, maybe 6 or 7 things that were unclear prior to coming out. There's still 5 to 10 things that I still have questions about. So it'll come, and we will keep communicating with our customers. It's to your point a minute ago, when we went through our kind of digital conversion several years ago, and the old concept. Oh, almost touched my face. I didn't touch it, Sam.
I scratched the back of my head, but that doesn't count. So,
yeah. The old concept is straight through processing, right? So how do you take a digital entry and it goes all the way into the system of record without human intervention? And when you workflow those out, you find is there's numerous, whether they're touch points or systems that happen that become the choke points. And whenever there's a choke point, right, you get a bottleneck, and then you got to get that attacked. And so you're playing whack-a-mole. That's where we are right now. The SBA systems are probably going to be a choke point. Lack of clarity right now is a choke point. We're sending out fillable PDF forms that the SBA's provided. 3 versions this week that have been published. And so it's a choke point just that those forms come back, and you got to figure out how to get the data off the form into your system, right? Because for high volume, you wouldn't want that. And all of us that have worked in fintech or integrated fintech partners in big ways, we've been through all this. We've removed all that. That's the beauty of this digital world. There's one thing that's just pet peeve of mine right now about this whole system is we're being asked as banks to validate a lot of payroll information. One of the things that we're required to validate is 941s, tax filings, right? So you've got the government telling the banks, it's your responsibility to validate this information that we as the government actually have, right? Because you filed a 941, the government has it, right?
Great point.
Imagine a banker saying, and then not you don't even have to imagine that this actually has happened in the past years ago with banks. You would tell a customer, it's like, okay, I'm going to underwrite your loan request. Go give me 3 months of your checking account statement, right? We used to have to ask that because I wouldn't have access to that
Right.
stuff, you know. And so it's the same thing happening, and it's those of us that work intricately in the fintech world. That's the kind of stuff that you just like. My
Yeah.
goodness, somebody read a Clayton Christensen book and go to work on the government.
Yeah, we had somebody that was on Peggy was on I think Monday, talking about how she's in Key West. She was closing on a property that she had during this time, so she went to her small community bank. They had her in the parking lot. A bank employee would walk out to her. She would fill out the paperwork there. They'd go back into the bank, do a little bit of processing, come back out to her car. Then a notary had to come meet her at the car. She had to pay the notary like $145 to do the work there, to then take the paperwork back into the bank. She spent hours in that parking lot to do a paper process, right? Because again, the bank is not set up digitally or on their tech stack, or even with their vendors to be able to manage something like that. Hey, and I'm curious for you, Curt. We had Jill Castillo on Monday.
She's awesome.
She is Citizens Bank of Edmond. Jill and Curt, right now, if I had to follow two people on Twitter or social channels to find out what in the hell is going on with these SBA loans, those are the two I highly recommend. And you both are giving us great links to other sources that are doing this. But Jill said something I thought was striking, because she only has like 50 people or 55 people. She has somebody dedicated full time to just watching the stories that are coming out on the SBA loans and the stimulus checks that are coming out. That's the person's full-time job. That sounds really cool, but when you're only 55 people, that's what percentage? There's math there. Don't ask me that. The percentage of your overall workforce that's having to do that, right? Wade almost can write me an algorithm to figure that out.
Yeah,
right?
I'm just a banker. I can't do that math.
Yeah, but I mean, we think about that. I think that comment flew over a lot of people's heads. That's a large allocation of her workforce that's doing that. How is your team handling this right now? I mean, I'm just curious. You had talked about playing bingo, for example, with your teams. How are they doing? Because this has to be stressful as anything.
Yeah, they're hanging in there. I mean, we're doing a lot of things like the bingo and video connecting. I just got a pop up on my computer about the bingo numbers being called. So we're trying to keep them connected. We're encouraging them to reach out to each other and do this kind of video conferencing through our Microsoft Teams setup and such. We check in. We send a survey out. To get a measure and how are you feeling. We've got an employee assistance program where people are able to call in, and all in all, we're doing well. Everybody's healthy. We have one employee that is waiting on test results, but we mobilized 3 weeks ago, and luckily with no branch network. We have a community banking approach over the internet, right? So we never come in contact with our customers. We have, it's just the way we operated. So, this one employee hasn't been in contact with any other employee for over 2 weeks. So, we're safe. There's a lot of anxiety out there, and we're doing our best to kind of help everybody manage through it. That's a tough part. As we sit, and we've had to dedicate. We've turned a bunch of our team members. We said we're going to have to stop originating new loans, 2 of our loan products, so that team can work on the SBA loan product. And my preference would be able to do both, right? So we're having significant resources being directed towards this, which is very important. But there's people out there that are needing just regular loans too, that we're saying no to right now until we finish kind of triaging our customers.
Wow. That's a big statement, because again, for folks outside of the U.S., just to give you a little bit of insight, rates right now are nothing. The number of folks refinancing their mortgages right now, and that side of the business. I was talking to a friend who said, if anything, if you're looking for people that are hiring, it's interesting that it's folks that are working from home to do online data entry for these mortgage companies. They actually are reaching out to some of them and doing that. And Sudhir, who is a software engineer and founder, let me know that it is 2%.
It's good to know.
So everybody in your comments, one thing you can do for me, one, if you have questions, put them in here. I swear, if we don't get to them now, we will get to them after. And hit the like button. Evidently, we're working the algorithm. So somebody did that for me yesterday because I mentioned it on Wade Arnold's, and somebody literally just kept hitting it. Because when I rewatched the video about an hour later, all these lights just started shooting out, and I'm like, I don't think we had 10,000 people on, but it sure did look like it. So if you don't mind, those that are in, so Jeff Yellen, who also evidently is another Louisiana guy, a lot of Louisiana guys saying who dat. By the way, I lived in Atlanta for 10 years. I was a Falcons fan. I let that whole story of the Saints just go right by without saying anything. Because
the Saints did win. Yeah.
Yes, we're just going to move right past that. Peter Olnick, one of my favorite people in the world. Peter Olnick, I worked with Peter Olnick for years in Charlotte. Peter is, when it comes to card programs and understanding those core systems there, one of the most knowledgeable people I've ever worked with in my life. Peter just said, think about the large allocation of the SB staff, where the owners, of the small business, where the owners, the CEO, the CFO, and the COO. Curt, you know that inside and out, right? The majority of these businesses are incredibly small, where that was Cabbage's line. And we'll talk about Cabbage in just a second. Cabbage's line, Rob Frohn, one of the founders, told me this. Cabbage is here so that bakers can bake. Bakers don't want to be doing the books. They don't want to be, small business owners, for the most part, that side of it, even though cash flow and everything is such a major component of that, they really want to focus on what they got into the business for. And that's where the community banks like you and the solution providers step in and do.
It's a great line. I wish I thought of it. It's and shout out to Jeff Yellen, who dat, because Jeff and I worked together actually when I moved back to New Orleans in 2007. We both worked at the Receivables Exchange. So good to hear from you. Who dat? The work that these small business owners have to do to get us information to qualify for the loan, and then to have that loan. It's frustrating for me because even the people we've spent time figuring out the PPP program, right, within the bank. We're a small business, as you pointed out, right? That's resources that we could have spent working on loan deferrals for our existing customers and restructures, and we've got limited resources, so we feel the same thing. When you think about it, you have which in essence this is if we did the jobs to be done analysis on this, right?
And Curt, by the way, believes in jobs to be done. Let me go ahead and say this. Curt has used, and I think you've worked with like the Fintech Forge guys and others around jobs to be done. So I love that. TAB Bank, this pure digital bank, but a smaller company, embraced jobs to be done a long time ago.
Yeah. Good. So if you think about it, the job to be done here, right, is to put money into a small business owner's hands to keep his staff employed.
Yeah.
What would be the easiest, best way to do that? This is in essence a grant. It's a loan that we're giving that's going to end up being forgiven. So it's coming through the SBA, then through all these banks who are not ready to do it, not set up, so we have to mobilize, right? The true job to be done here is in essence to get money as quickly as possible in the hands of small business to keep people employed. Right. This is not the easiest way to do that by any means. And, so we're struggling because we have this huge resource suck into getting this executed and starting to get money. We're hoping to get money out the door on Tuesday, to customers. But the amount of resources drained to do this is significant. And it's just like the small business owner having to, late at night, start gathering all this information to get to us. They could be doing things that they need to be doing to protect their business right now. And so it's frustrating. It is where we are, though. So we're going to plow ahead and we're going to get through it and we're going to make it happen.
Here's a really good question, Curt. And again, Sirhar, man, I know I'm slaughtering your name, and I apologize. And I'm just horrible. David Breyer and I should never pronounce anybody's names. Like I said, Kurt told me how to say his name. I spelled it out phonetically and still got it wrong. But anyways, Sirhar's been here like every single one of these shows, and he asks great questions. And this is a good one, Kurt. In the midst of the information uncertainty, how do you protect customers from the cyber fraud, phishing, et cetera? Because that's been happening like crazy. Phone calls, emails, it's been nonstop hitting people up, individuals and businesses around fraud for this. So tough question, but I'll throw it to you.
No, it's a good question. I mean, we have put out educational stuff to our customers in the past. I didn't actually think about there's a lot of things in my mind right now. So I hadn't thought about that in the past couple of weeks. We do need to. We've done it internally for our own staff. We need to, go back out and help our customers. One of the things that's been in development for us, it's in our list, is to be able to offer cyber protection tools and services through the bank to small businesses. But that's a really good point, and I think something I'm going to take from this call is to go back to our team and say, hey, we've got to get this information back out to our customers to remind them and point them to places where they can get protection. The phishing attacks that are out there, I mean, it's unbelievable how much they've just, you can't say enough negative things about people that behave like that during this kind of crisis.
Yeah, it is funny the number of people that step up, right, and really really care about their community and their fellow man and their neighbors. And then you're always going to get the flip side of this, right? I mean, we know the level of attacks have just skyrocketed and the cons that are in place. So definitely how you protect that and address that for everybody. That is everything. And I love that in the questions we got, they gave you a takeaway. So good question. And Jane Barrett is on also from MX, and we all love Jane Barrett. Jane is, I'm embarrassed, sir. I consider Jane a mentor for me. And also in Utah. So a Australian Singapore live-in New Yorker forever who now lives in Utah, which I still think is funny. But she gave you a shout out just now, and we do love Jane. And the team at MX, by the way, yesterday put out a great infographic around steps the individual consumer can take in these times. And I want to give MX a shout out, and we'll put a link out to that because it was just an excellent point. And I think in times like this, putting that type of information out is everything. So Kurt, my last question for you before we have to close, because we've gone well over, and that's time. I'm going to ask you too, because this question came up, and Amanda Moore, I'm not going to pass this up. Amanda's an MBA candidate. When you stop offering one of your loan products, what do you tell your customers when they ask for it? Do you recommend a competitor, offer another loan product, or give the customer an updated timeline for when you begin to offer again? Good question, Amanda. So Kurt.
Yeah. So we are very, we believe it's a big world out there. We actually partner with a bunch of fintech online lenders. And so we don't feel like we want to do everything ourselves. So when typically, if we're going to suspend something, we'll point them to one of our existing partners, or we'll point them out there in the world, and we will give them timeline. Well, we haven't been able to on these two products we've suspended, give them timelines because we don't know yet. But we do have a bunch of partners that do similar things that we do refer them to. We're a small bank, and so we've never thought that we could do everything for our customers at once or serve them well. And so we have significant, I mean, even on the SBA side, we've been partnering with SmartBiz for years to do small business loans, and they're helping us get plugged into the SBA systems. So that network of providers and creating that, the Jim Maru kind of platform to serve customers is our philosophy. So we absolutely will bring other people in and point them to those resources.
And that's the right answer. All right.
Customer first.
Customer always, right? The best, especially now, what you can do for them. All right, folks. As usual, I went like way over. We went 45 minutes. It was only supposed to be a 30-minute show. So I want to thank my crew in London and in Copenhagen. So Tobias is sitting in Copenhagen. Okay, he's an hour out or 30 minutes outside of Copenhagen, but running this for us. Hannah in our London office. Thank you guys, because I know it's late over there. For folks that joined in, by the way, Curt, we had folks from Spain who were posing questions out here in London, so I love that. Where's the best place for the 11FS community and folks watching this to learn more about Tab Bank? And now I know to call it Tab Bank and not TAB, which really is dumb on my part.
That actually is easier than my last name. So,
I know.
So www.tabbank.com, TABBANK, is our website. We have social media presence on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. So follow us. We're out there, and we look forward to continuing to serve and grow our community.
And what about you, Curt? What's your Twitter handle?
Curt Q. So it's CURTQU is my Twitter handle. Curt Q. So
Curt, Curt and Joel Castilla, just flag them if you want to know anything of what's happening with these community banks, what's happening on the SBA side. I think, again, I've said it a million times in the show, but great resources. As for me, follow me at Sam Maule. Follow us at 11FS. Obviously, we're going to be doing these shows, like I said, for the foreseeable future. We do 2 a day. If you want to get up at like 4 in the morning, the UK is doing a show with David Breer. We have these. I want to thank every single person for the questions you asked and for being here. Next week, I think we kick off with John Sanoff, who's the founder of Empire Startups in New York, one of my favorite bald-headed motorcycle driving CrossFit maniac in New York. I love John, so that'll be a great show. Everybody stay safe, and thanks for joining us. We'll see you Monday.
Thanks. Bye.